Hello everyone, my name is KelSounds, and today I am going to show you something a little bit different than my regular sound design videos. Sorry I haven't been posting as much. I have taken on the daunting task of trying to learn Max4Live, and it's been hard. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, who knew, like, just trying to make a simple sound, like just a simple sound, like a sine wave outputting of a Max4Live device was going to be so hard, but it is. It was super hard. But you know, that's kind of my fault a little bit too, because I kind of just dove right in and read a lot of documentation, and I tried to pick up on some of the methods. I watched a lot of tutorials as well. There's a lot of good tutorials out there, especially on the if you open up Max4Live and then you go to the search here, and I look up, I don't know, well, this is what I was working with, the poly object, and then it'll recommend, like, using, wait, where is it at? Oh, here we go. MSP Polyphony Tutorial 1. Like, there's a lot of good documentation out there, and then even if I type in the object here and I open the help, it pops up with a little window, and it, you know, tells you what the device does and like how to use it. But I watched some tutorials, and yeah, I was just following along, and that's pretty much what I did. I'm coming into Max4Live completely not knowing anything about Max4Live. This is like my first time making a device with Max4Live, and I think it would be kind of cool to try and learn it and make sounds in a different way. But I'm still going to be releasing my regular sound design videos because I still love making music with Faceplant and just doing other sound design stuff. But this is kind of like a little side thing that I want to try and learn as well. But yeah, I learned a lot, and I want to show you guys what I learned. And I want to also show you guys my patch. If any of my viewers are Max4Live users or Max users and are looking at my patch, and if there's something I could do better, I would love to know, because this is all new to me. And I think it'd be a great way for not just only for me to learn, but for the community to learn as well. So I'm going to show you what's inside of here, what I did, and maybe if there's some improvements, let me know down in the comments. I would really love to know, you know, your feedback, or if you're also new to Max4Live, maybe this can be like a learning journey for both of us. Yeah, let's just mess around. I got this effect rack thing on here. This was just a... This was just for the effects afterwards, to put like reverb on and OTT, but I mean, that, yeah, I'm gonna turn those off just because I want to show you the device. So let's see, what do I have going on here? I'm going to loop this, and then I'm going to open up the Max4Live device. I'm going to lock this. Is this playing? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. So I have a volume, live.gain volume fader here. I have a way to choose which shapes we're using, so I have oscillator off. These are message boxes being sent to an inlet, which that inlet is then being sent into a subpatcher, but we'll get to that. So anyways, this is an oscillator off. This is a sine wave, so you just click on it to get different sounds. Then you got sawtooth wave, and then a square wave, and then oscillator off. And then I have my attack, decay, sustain, release. These were a little tricky for me, because learning like what the values should be for attack, decay, sustain, release, that was like tripping me out. And then the way I was patching it was wrong, and it took me like forever to try and figure out, oh my gosh, how do I patch this the right way? And even then, like making it work how it is now, I don't even know if I did it correctly. But you know, I'll learn more as I go along and read more and practice more Max4Live. And then I have this live.scope object here, which is just viewing your waveform. So yeah, it's a live.scope object. So pretty much Max4Live is pretty much, it's like working with a bunch of objects, and each of these objects have like different functions and different ways you can manipulate these objects. You can use like a message, you can use like float values or integer values to try and just manipulate different objects inside of Max4Live. And then there's probably a bunch of other things too that I'm kind of missing. It's a new way of making music. Let me show you this. I have two live.gain objects because I couldn't figure out how to lower down the volume of the sound being outputted from my sub patch into the multiply object. So I have my attack, decay, and sustain release, and my note in velocity being outputted into my attack, decay, sustain, release to trigger the attack, decay, sustain, release tilde object. And then that's being multiplied with the poly my voice object here, and this is the sub patch. So this is one single voice, or this sub patch represents one single voice. And this is what I was trying to learn, was the sub patch, because I didn't know anything about sub patching, or I guess anything about a sub patch or how that works. And so that's what I was spending the majority of my time trying to learn, and like read the documentation and opening the help file and stuff like that. And then of course the YouTube tutorials helped a whole lot. I would recommend watching like the YouTube tutorials if you're trying to figure out something in Max4Live. And then once you like experiment with that object more, then you can like read the help file, and then you kind of got a better idea of like what's happening. But yeah, I'm just trying to learn the basics. There's just so much. Like the thing about Max4Live is that there's just so much to dive into. It's like, where do I start? I guess we're gonna get there. I'm gonna continue to try and learn. So I have my note in, and this is where my MIDI notes are coming in. The note in has pitch, it has velocity, and MIDI channel. I'm not sure what this one's used for yet, but the pitch and the velocity are what I use the most in this patch. And then I have pack, which I'm not really even sure what this object does. I think it just packs this information, and then it sends it into pre-pen MIDI, which then sends it into the poly tilde sub patch. Yeah, like I said, I'm still trying to learn what the objects are. Just bear with me. I don't know what everything does exactly. So after this pre-pen, it sends to my poly tilde my voice patch and or sub patch, and this represents one single voice. So the in1 and the out tilde one work with the poly tilde object, which you can use to make polyphony with. And if I open the help, it says manage polyphony / DSP for patchers. Use the poly tilde. The tilde at the end is actually for audio, to let Max4Live know that you're working with audio. So yeah, it says use the poly tilde to encapsulate a patcher inside of an object box, to specify the patcher file name and the number of instances you want to load as arguments to the poly tilde object, and to control object processing and routing in the loaded patcher instances. But yeah, it's always good to open the help and see like what it's doing. So I have poly tilde and then my voice, which is the name of the patch that I saved, that I encapsulated, so it knows to use that as a sub patch. And then at voices, I'm using a total of 8 voices for the polyphony. And then at steal 1, I think at steal 1 does something called voice stealing, which I think it like plays a new note. I'm still learning about that as well. But yeah, and then I have a multiply object and an attack, decay, sustain, release. There's an attack, decay, sustain, release inside of the sub patcher. I don't know if I did this wrong, but I think there's a way to like control the attack, decay, sustain, release inside of the sub patcher. I'm gonna test it out later. Like I said, if there's anyone who uses Max4Live, if there's like a better way of doing this, I would love to know in the comments. Not just for me, but for you guys to learn as well. But the attack, decay, and sustain release has values set over here. Yeah, so instead of controlling it inside of the sub patch, I am controlling it outside with another attack, decay, sustain, release. Probably not the best way to do that, but I was just trying to get sound to come out of the Max4Live device. And then I have these message boxes down here. So if I click 0, it puts 0 into this number box. And then if I hit 1, it puts 1 inside the number box, and so forth. And so the send object is sending this into the sub patcher, which is receiving. I don't know how it's receiving, but I don't think the receive doesn't have to have like a patch cable connected to it. Yeah, you see, it receives messages without patch cords, receives and outputs messages from send objects sharing the same name. Wait a minute, same name. So this is send. I forgot how to pronounce that word. Send, and then inside of here, receive. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, you see, I just learned something new. I didn't even know that. Okay, so it has the same name. So that's how it receives the message from that send object. That's pretty cool. Okay, that's cool to know. So yeah, and then it's connected to another number box, which is being sent into the selector object, which selects either cycle, saw, or rectangle. Our signal is coming in, or our MIDI signal is coming in through the N. It's being unpacked to the MIDI to frequency, and then this is the trigger for attack, decay, sustain, release object. Yeah, so this is dividing. Not really too sure what's happening inside of here, but like I said, I'm still learning, and I hope you guys can find something useful out of this. But yeah, then it's being sent into a multiply object, and then it's being sent to an out. And then there's a this poly, which works with voice allocating and muting, which I'm also still learning more about. Pretty interesting. Then it's being sent to the out, and then all the fancy jazz stuff is happening in here. So yeah, this is my Max4Live device. But yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of cool to show you guys as I'm learning Max4Live. You can maybe join me along the journey. One of the main reasons why I wanted to start learning Max4Live is because I wanted to create my own audio effects. So this was just practice. So I'm still, of course, gonna make sound design videos because that's always fun to do. I know this is a different kind of video for you guys, but I just wanted to show you guys what I was working on the past weekend, which is why I haven't really released any videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.